Shabbat Shalom, everybody, fellow Talmidim. Today's podcast, I'm coming to you from a very cloudy Shabbat. Not rainy, just cloudy, but that is okay. Last week we talked about the restoration of Hebrew things, and I wanted to continue that this week. However, as I was researching and studying for what I wanted to talk about, I came to the realization that I had more that I needed to research before I presented it in a teaching. So we will not be talking about it this week. I wanted to make sure that I gave you something that has actually been well looked into rather than something that's been half-baked. So I apologize for that. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, I don't know. But this week, we're actually going to be doing a word study on the word Talmidim. And I will be reading a very small excerpt from my book regarding this. And also, if you have not been following my blog on my website, which is www.michaeldsofer.com /my blog, I did a blog for a word study. More people said word study rather than a scriptural study. So I mixed it. I read some scripture. I posted some scripture as well as some talks about the word shalom, what it means and how it relates to scripture, and how to what I believe scripture pretty much insinuates or even comes out and says what real shalom is. So if you haven't been following that, I welcome you to do so, because this week, I'm trying to do something to where it's in the middle of the week. I do a Shabbat recording as often as I can bring myself to do so. That is something I keep doing regularly, but also a midweek kind of blog for just a little something to maybe help teach you something or inspire you to continue through your week. This week I will be talking upon request about the word emet, for the word truth. It is a word study, and in doing so I will also be putting in that blog a small excerpt from my book as well, because I talk about that topic in there. And again, if you have not gotten my book, there it is for you on YouTube. Shalom. That is my book. You can find that on Amazon.com, Amazon Kindle as well, and or CreateSpace. It's a good book if you've got anyone in your family or got any friends that is new to Torah, or a new believer, or has been asking questions. It's a good book maybe for you to read and get some answers to give to them, or just give it put it in their hand and let them kind of look over it and stuff. And if they have any more questions, of course, you are there for them. But that is that. Let us get into this week's talk. What I want to talk about is the word Talmidim. And I have a passage I want to read to you. I'm going to be reading in the chronological. I can't talk today. I'm so tired. I did not sleep well last night. Chronological Gospels. This is the recordings. It's the Life and 70-Week Ministry of the Messiah, is put together by Michael Rood. It's good. I like it. The version he calls it the corrected King James version, which I appreciate. What I'll be reading to you is from Matthew chapter 28, verse 18 through 20. It is Yeshua at this point has been resurrected. He has been with his Talmidim, or disciples, for a good number of days now, and he was about to ascend in the Shemayim, into the heavens. And he says, I'll just read what it says. Verse 18, Then Yeshua came and spoke to his disciples. Quote, All power and authority has been given to me in heaven and in earth. Go, teach all nations to carry out all the things that I have commanded you forever. According to Matthew, Amen. Now, with that said, I'm going to read my excerpt real quick here, and this copy actually belongs to someone. I did a small sweepstakes, I guess you could call it, contest. It wasn't really any challenge, you just did something. But someone actually won, those of you who were wondering about that, and this particular copy belongs to her. I do have them, if you're listening or watching. I just, with the moving and the renovation, I've not been able to just, but basically for those of you who don't know, I offered if you did a particular something like shared on Twitter or Facebook, or just shared a particular video, and told me about it, you know, through the comments or whatever, you had the opportunity to win 2 copies of this, and the other copy sitting over there, as well as 2 sets of tzitzi tassels. I wear these as well. The thing is, I have not gotten around to actually sitting down and making them. It's, as I've explained to this person, that I've just been with the renovations on the house, and there's been just thing after thing after thing. I was talking to my mother earlier today, talking about how it's been one thing after the other. You know, I think I fixed something going on with the house, and it actually turns out to not be fixed, so I have to kind of repeat, and that's been going on a lot. So y'all pray for me, please. Total rubber for that. But okay, I'm going to get you your stuff. I still have your address. Okay, here's my small excerpt. It's just like a paragraph. This is regarding the particular passage I read to you. I say, quote, "This has been called by many the Great Commission. The word disciples comes from the Hebrew word Talmidim. It is a plural version of Talmud, which means student. You can consider that if you call yourself a follower of Yeshua, then you are also calling yourself a student, disciple, or apprentice of Yeshua. What Yeshua is saying here is to go and make others like the ones he was speaking to, Talmidim, who later become known as apostles or emissaries or special messengers. He wanted them to deliver the same message that he had taught his entire ministry, the message of the kingdom." Now, regarding the word Talmidim, as I have written, it has several meanings which are pretty much synonyms or synonymous with one another. A Talmidim, when you read in the Gospels about what when he speaks with his disciples, or he sends his disciples out, or something regards the disciple, a disciple of Yeshua, etc., etc., that word is Talmud or Talmidim. Talmidim is the plural. So you and I are also Talmidim. We are disciples. You are a follower of Yeshua. You are a student of Yeshua. You are an apprentice of Yeshua. You regard him as your master above you, as some call him the great rabbi, and so on. He is a Mashiach, the Messiah. Therefore, you being under his authority. He even states here, let me read this again, "All power and authority has been given to me in heaven and in earth." So, he's the one with authority. So we speak as, I don't have a complete Brit Hadashah with me. There's a particular verse in the Brit Hadashah, or the New Testament, or the Renewed Covenant, that states that we are ambassadors for Messiah. We are his voice throughout the earth. We go and deliver his message. We are his messengers, you know. The idea that we are disciples, or Talmidim, shows that, you know, we are no longer of ourselves. We are of Messiah. Yeshua spent his ministry delivering a very specific message, and a lot of that message was teshuvah, return, for the kingdom of Yah is at hand. And you know, likewise, he spoke the good news. You know, he spoke of the eternity that is in the life to come, his own return to set up the kingdom. Because as we know, in the early state, well, in the first coming, yeah, 2,000 years ago roughly, he came to be a suffering servant. He was the Lamb of Yah, as he was the Pesach or Passover lamb that was to be slain on our behalf, so that we may be reconciled, and the covenant may be renewed between us and the Almighty. But he is coming again as a conquering king, and he actually alludes to that when he read from the scroll of Yeshayahu or Isaiah, talking about that particular prophecy. But we are to do the same thing. And he even says, teach all nations, or teach all goyim, possibly, to carry out all the things that I have commanded you forever. He taught Torah. He did. He taught. He said that the Torah was something he did not come to destroy or to do away with, and it will not pass away until heaven and earth pass away, and they're both still here. So it's a forever thing. The Torah is a forever thing, and we are to deliver that same message. Now, if we're good Talmidim, we will deliver the same message, and I believe we will also keep the Torah as he also kept the Torah. Remember, he stated that he does nothing of himself; it is of the Father. Even that time when he was praying in the garden, requesting, if it's possible, Father, that this cup be passed from me, please do so. But not my will be done; let your will be done. And that is very important, and that's that's also a lot of what my book is surrounding. Is in Matthew 7, chapter 7. It talks about not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, enters into the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father. So now it's his message, but it's the message of the Father, the message that he sent his Son into the world to deliver and to carry out. There's the element of the will of my Father. So, as we are ambassadors for Yeshua on this earth, we are his Talmidim, we're ambassadors for Messiah, so then we should have the same standards that he held for himself, was that I do nothing of myself, but whatever he spoke, it was because the Father said it. It's what the Father willed to have been said. I don't go anywhere unless it's willed of the Father. Even though he didn't want to go and be crucified, he didn't want to have to go through that experience of being, hung on the tree and being cursed for mankind's sake. But even though he asked for that cup to be passed from him, he, did it anyway, because he told the Father during his prayer, not my will, but your will be done. So that within that comes an all new level of challenge to you and me. If we call ourselves Talmidim, if we call ourselves followers of the Messiah, if we call ourselves children of Yah, do we do as Yeshua did? Do we teach Torah? Do we practice Torah? Do we observe Torah, which contains the mitzvot and the commandments on how to be and who to be, and the financial aspects of it, and the dietary laws, and the moedim, and so on? Do we do as Yeshua did? Remember those bracelets a long time ago? I guess they're still around. I don't know, the WWJD, what would Jesus do? And I prefer what would Yeshua do, of course. But it's true. What would he do? And the truth is, he would keep every commandment that he, as a man of Yah, or the son of Yah, would keep. And same goes for if you were a child, an infant or whatever, you would keep whatever Torah instructions would pertain to you, and likewise with a woman or a Kohen, a priest, and so on. For every situation throughout your life, there is a set of instructions for whatever gender you are, or whatever place of authority you are. There are instructions for that. And Yeshua kept those, as his parents also did, Joseph and Miriam. They kept the Torah instructions. They had them circumcised on the correct day. They kept the Moedim, and so on. And so likewise, in a sense, too, his parents were Talmidim as well. But this word Talmidim, as I said, it has a challenge for you, and is it that you can look in a mirror and do you see Mashiach staring back at you? In that sense, that no, not you're not the Messiah. Don't misunderstand me. It's the point that you are an ambassador. That means that uh, you are His representation on this planet. You are speaking on His behalf. You are His voice. You act and do as He would have done in this case, like in this modern world that we live in. Do you do the will of the Father? Do you based on whatever actions or decisions you have to make, do you consult the Father first? Do you consult the Torah first? Which this isn't the Torah, but do you? Well, considering I consider Yeshua the Torah made man, so yeah. Do you do that same thing? Does that? Because if not, and this is not what's the word, popular, but if you do not do as Yeshua did in seeking the will of the Father and keeping His Father's Torah, then how can you call yourself a Talmidim? How can you call yourself a follower? My sister told me a story one time. She and her husband went to Egypt a few years ago, and it was actually, they were there, I don't know if you remember, when the whole rebellion started. Like literally when it first started, they were there, and they were having a hard time getting out of Egypt until I think our government stepped in and was able to get U.S. citizens out, and they were among those who were able to get out. But they were in a taxi, and of course, it's kind of, you got to be quiet about if you're a Christian or whatever. And my computer froze. Oh, there we go. The story she told, they were in a taxi. And it came up somehow that they were Christians, and the taxi driver also, it turns out, was also a Christian. But he didn't say, "Oh, you're a Christian too," or he's like, "Oh yeah, what church do you go to?" The question that he asked was, "Oh, so you're a follower in his footsteps?" And my sister said, I kind of felt convicted because I didn't quite know how to answer that. And I her telling me that story, just the wording always stayed with me. And I just realized that I'm not using the correct microphone for this recording. That is okay, because you can understand me. But anyways, the whole idea behind whether you are a follower in His footsteps. Are you a follower in His footsteps? Like literally, could you say that each step you take, you look down, let's say there's His footprints in the sand, so to speak, and there's yours as well. Do your footprints line up? Do you walk the same path? Do you follow Him? Do you allow Him to go before you and you walk straight and narrow? Do you do exactly that? And it's a challenging question, it really is, because you can't really answer that question unless you look into the scriptures and you see for yourself whether a decision or something that you did actually lined up with what scripture states. Not what your pastor or me, what I say, or your dad or mom or brother, sister, etc. It's what the Almighty has to say on the matter, or what the Messiah says about it. Can you look in this book, the scriptures, hold it up as if it were a mirror, and do you see your own reflection, or do you see something else, something that does not mirror what the scriptures say? Because a Talmidim is going to do as he says. You being in school, if you're a student and the teacher instructs you, let's say you're in a math class and they instruct you on how to do a particular, solve a certain equation or whatever, if you don't do it the way the teacher teaches you or instructs you to do it, then you're not going to solve the equation. You're going to come out with something that's wrong. So, as a student, you have to listen to the teacher, the more. As a follower, you know, if they're walking down this path and they know it's the right path and you choose to go that way instead, you know, you're going to end up in a different place than the leader, you know, the master. And so on. There's so many different examples I could bring up, you know. Yeah, I don't think I'm using the right microphone. I buy this microphone, I don't use it. But that's okay. So in closing, you know, it's a simple word study. It's, you know, Talmidim. Are you a Talmud? Are you, you know, are you following in his footsteps? Can you say that you're a disciple, a student, a follower, an ambassador, um, an apprentice? You know, because at the end of the day, the question is, do you look like Yeshua, and do you act like and talk like Yeshua, or are you not like Yeshua? Because if you're not like Yeshua, then, you know, you're not a Talmidim. That's the long and the short of it, I suppose. So, I hope you take that with you, and I hope that challenges you to look into the scriptures and see for yourself who you are when you measure yourself or weigh yourself or line yourself up with the scriptures. And I hope also that you continue to be following the podcasts and the blogs. And if you haven't joined me on Facebook yet, please do, facebook.com/Hebraic Perspectives. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, Michael86, Mihaal86. Same for my YouTube channel, Michael86. And please subscribe to those. If you like what you're hearing, feel free to make a donation so that I can continue to bring to you more materials more often, as well as something that I'm going to be doing pretty soon. I'm trying to get things set up to where I can do so, is to order more copies of my book and just send them for free to my local communities, churches that have been set up that teach that we are free from Torah, free from the law, and try to get this book into their hands and challenge their stance on this, using the scriptures, of course, and hopefully, perhaps they will want to talk about it, and they can contact me through the contacts that I've put in the book. If that's something that you want to donate towards, that you want to support, feel free to donate. And thank you for joining me again for another podcast this Shabbat, or this recording is probably actually going to be going up after Shabbat. But be blessed, be Talmidim, and may you have shalom. And Shavua Tov, shalom.